Alrighty, people. Positive Paul. Thursday morning, January 4th, 2024. And I'm in the mood today, so I am going to continue to punch holes, make Swiss cheese out of this so called Montauk project. And we start off by the very first thing that needs to be understood is before this date right here, which is November 25th, 1989, there was no Montauk Project. Now, what is the one correlation that I have with that date? Exactly 2 weeks prior, on November 10th, I was honorably discharged from the United States Marine Corps and cut loose. And the hope would have been that at some point I would have either had an accident, maybe got myself in trouble, or worse, because there was going to come a day that I was going to be aware of some things that happened to me early on as a child, but more particularly, specifically, the years between 1980 and 83, June 80 through August 12th, 83. Now, with that being said, the number one bullet point when trying to tackle this topic, this conspiracy, and know what you're talking about, is that the Montauk Project is forever linked with the Philadelphia experiment, or vice versa. See, I think it's the other way around. So when we begin to first examine the situation and the content, the way it was explained initially early on, we must first come to I guess, some type of an agreement that this involves technology that the average person is not allowed to understand how it functions, how it operates, who is able to use the technology and actually not get themselves killed. And then we want to know who was involved. So one of the other key bullet points concerning the Montauk Project is these Montauk boys. Now, we're going to examine only Al today. And we will certainly examine Preston. Duncan, like I've stated, he doesn't really say much. His involvement as far as trying to explain things is very limited. But then, of course, you've got Swerdlow. So, first, we understand the date, November 25th, 1989. Secondly, we understand the Philadelphia experiment and the Montauk Project are linked up. Thirdly, we understand that there's these so-called Montauk boys that seem to be very crucial in accomplishing some of the activities that were performed out there on Long Island, such as mind control, such as time travel. And now, fourthly, it's the infamous August 12th, 1983 date. That is supposedly the day when everything, their house of cards, came crashing down. And we will get to that eventually. So let's start off, and we're gonna just quickly understand that this very first meeting where they discuss the Philadelphia experiment and Montauk Project, you have the three: Al Bielik, Duncan Cameron, and Preston Nichols. Now there is a crew there. You have, it looks to be about maybe 6 other people, and they do, in the video, they pan around. There's a table right here where you see 3 people sitting. They look younger, and then the interviewers are facing Preston. They're sitting right around here somewhere, and you don't really see them. You just see the other people over here. So there's at least 6 other people in attendance, and Preston, he starts off. He's the one speaking. He starts to answer questions, and then as it moves along, Al will interject and jump in, and then finally Duncan at some point is forced to spend a mere, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, and this is a 2.5 plus hour video. Just to give you an idea, Preston does most of the talking, and then Al. So what we want to do is, this is supposed to be Al Bielik in 1989. Now, I'm doing this only for my own sake, because as I continually go over this, and I'm going to base a lot of what I think off a supposed meeting where I've told the story a couple times. I was on a bus, and it appeared to be an older man waiting at a bus stop along the route. And, tell you what, he looked like Al Bielik, but he didn't look like that. Now, the thing I want you to see with Al is look right here. Now, on this video, I spent a lot of time trying to see if Al had some issues with shape-shifting. And it wouldn't be until just recently where I've come up with something, and as always, I'm going to keep it fresh and reveal this here shortly, that I believe now Al, he is one of these so-called, reptilian shapeshifters. Now, that's going to really upset a lot of people, because remember, a lot of people have benefited off running their yaps concerning the Philadelphia experiment, the Montauk Project. They've written books, they've done these videos, these conferences all over the world, and a lot of money has been made. But never a mention about one of these Montauk boys. Now, according to my research, it would be almost a decade later until individuals surfaced claiming that they may have been involved in Montauk, meaning the key years of 80 to 83. So, Al's a tough cookie. I see this, that leading up to this, they would have had almost 6 years to get their story straight. First, they had to figure out who are they going to put up there to present this and have it seep in to the public consciousness. And how would that be done? Well, initially with Al, once this sit down was finished, in earnest, starting in 1990, Al did the MUFON circuit. And then that's how they were able to give the myth of Montauk legs, birth, to where, even though at that time in 1990, who knows how many attendees at these MUFON conferences, but let's say 1,000 plus people may have been exposed to this conspiracy theory starting at about 1990. And I always go back to the MUFON talk, his original one in Dallas, Texas, at the Metroplex, January 13th, 1990. So this will be 34 years ago coming up here shortly, where Al did his first MUFON talk. And I've explained this, I've done videos, and I'll try to come up with something different about this, but the main takeaway at this particular MUFON conference is some of the attendees during an answer question session grilled Al. You obviously have a lot of people that did not believe, him and his brother, Duncan, jumping off the Eldritch. And part of this, when I do these videos, if you're a newbie, all right, I'm the wrong guy to ask questions, so I'm not going to be having the comment section over. I've done enough videos. You need to go and do your homework, which takes a lot of time to figure out who's on the up and up. So yeah, those MUFON attendees, they gave Al the business. And this is also the one and only time where Al interjects Aleister Crowley, the famous Wilson brothers story, which Peter Moonbeam, once I started talking about it, these goofballs start putting that in their little skits that they do. So Al, he looks kind of strange right there. But you'll soon see what I'm talking about. So when I had the interaction with this, I'll say, creature on the bus, I've been trying to understand Al and his appearance. And all we have to go on are videos starting from this one in 89. And then by the time he's with Rich Jybros in Denver, April 2001, his appearance, it's definitely changing. His voice don't change that much, but in between his appearance changes at certain times. And this is what we're going to get into right now. And like I said, I'm doing this for my own benefit. Whether anybody gets anything out of this, because they're not going to like my conclusions here. I get this. And here's the thing with you social media frauds that put these Montauk videos up. Richard Bruce, he's guilty. The same thing. He loves the one where Preston talks about Charlie, the Draco. But just by merely putting these videos up and thinking that that's helpful, you need to understand that you've only got a one-sided story from 4 people that somehow nobody else it came forth to talk about it. Nobody survived this. Nobody knows where these Montauk boys are. Some of us think we were involved. I've given my testimony because I'm right there, Long Island, those key years, my missing time. But when you put these videos up and you don't know anything concerning what was said and how people have been misled and people's lives have been destroyed over this, these young teenage boys that would have been part of this, their lives were destroyed. No, look, no one, once you get in bed with these Satanists, or you've been handed over to them from birth and they got you marked, they do not go away. They only plot, plan, regroup, and recruit. So this is what I'm saying. On this timeline, I've heard all the stories on social media, and it's sparse concerning satanic ritual abuse. Again, I'll throw Zeph Daniel a bone because he and there's been other people, David Carrico, all that, and I've listened to them all. I can't come up with all the names, but the thing of it is, these 4 people went on to lead normal lives, talking about this most unbelievable experimentation, specifically done on teenage boys. And like I said, this is what gets me so angry and why I lose it. Where are these so-called Montauk boys? So the reason why I come up with the number less than 30, because you have to understand about MK Ultra and understand that around the years 1972 is when it totally went underground, but the scraps of these children, these young boys, and I was one of them, they would have been isolated and sent wherever and put on ice to be used at the proper time. And the proper time came at around 1980. Now let's not forget, all right, the people that are older than me. I'm 58 right now. I'll be 59 this year. If the story is true, saying Swerdlow was involved since 1970, all right, and Al claims that he can remember from about 76, then we know individuals in the age group ahead of me might have been affected, might have been involved. But again, the key years are 80 to 83. So I think these boys that would have been ahead of me, my group, they would have been treated horribly, especially if, with the whole Wilhelm Reich, the orgone energy thing, Reichian programming, all that, the sodomy, okay? Look, these creeps, that's what they're all about. First, destroying children, but trying to destroy Jacob and figure out how, what is it that Jacob, how does he think, what the connection that he has to the Holy One of Israel. And see, this is the part where these people can't go, because for the very reason is they are of the wicked one. Now, what they do is, look, they spend a lot of time, and the presentations, the Juilliard-trained social media fraud from the get-go, going back decades, they use a cadence to their voice, being soft-spoken. They like that. They want to present themselves as this very humble person, and that, hey, look, these memories resurfaced, and now I got a guilty conscience. Or is it the other way around? These intellectual barbarians, these Machiavellian monsters, these pedophile, Satanist creeps have to cover their tracks and constantly come up and fabricate lie after lie, story after story, hence these conspiracy stories. So Al hits the MUFON circuit starting 1990, okay? And remember, there's a correlation between these years, and this is why these videos are difficult. But it's when everything at the end of the 80s, talk radio, Art Bell, I'll keep repeating myself so it sinks in. The way they set this up with the disposition, the dissemination of these conspiracy theories, all this wild talk to try to mitigate their activities, which, see, people are at the wrong place at the wrong time. They see things and they're like, oh no. And we live in a world now where, hey, look, nobody wants to be on the end of having their life destroyed. So they will turn a blind eye. And I know whatever happened on August 12th and leading up to it in 1983, that summer, there are people out in Long Island that saw something. I looked for newspaper articles. I even looked if there was an earthquake on that day, and there wasn't. There was, but not in the United States. But the point is, looking at Al, he has a progression where he gives certain details, and the details are as such. The Philadelphia experiment is his wheelhouse. But he has to connect it to the Montauk Project. But this all goes back. This is a continuation of MK Ultra. So I'm saying the scraps of these boys, they got sent off. And then the people in my age group, when these Machiavellian monsters thought they figured something out, and they started, going to town on us. But the group that I was with in Canary Islands, in the years 1974, it was about 30 blonde-haired, blue-eyed, English-speaking young boys. I would have been, 8 years old at that point. So, and I can get into all this, but I don't, because it's obvious social media never was going to be somewhere that you can, spill your guts and hope that, you're going to, yes, you can find sympathetic ear. You find people that, maybe have trouble believing a lot of this. But the thing of it is, it has happened. And the reason why we're talking about it is because children were affected by it, and these creeps couldn't kill us all off. So next on the list, Al finds himself on Coast to Coast with Art Bell. Him and Preston, they do it up. It's 1993 is the first talk, and then you have, I think, May 94, where both him and they're not together. They do it separately. And then there's a famous one where Al actually, Father Martin Malachi could not make it. And so Al filled in as a special guest in place of Father Malachi. And that would have been around 94, May of 94. So Al he's honing his story concerning the Philadelphia experiment. Him and Duncan jumping off the Eldritch, the equipment going haywire. When they generated the electromagnetic field around the Eldritch, it was pulsed at a very, high amplitude, more than they expected. The power surge caused the object to not only become invisible, but it punched a hole in hyperspace. sucking it into a vortex that apparently linked up with August 12th, 1983, because the Philadelphia experiment, according to Al, and the way this conspiracy was formed, occurred on August 12th, 1983. Now, I want to show you what they're doing now, but we'll get to this. So now here is Al in 1990. And it's like all of a sudden this guy, he's looking youthful. Look, I don't know what to tell you people. You have to look at these videos and ask yourself, all right, if this whole med bed thing is true, or look, the technology to pretty much regenerate your cells, get you going again, fountain of youth, whatever you want to call it, whatever these sad sack Satanists do, it's a lot of it would be holistic, I'm sure. In ancient times, this information was right there. Everybody knew how everybody was getting through each day. But look how, like, Al, his appearance. So this is the global UFO conference in Denver, Colorado, August 14th, 1990. And Al's giving his talk. And I see this progression because first he has to somehow cover up the fact that something happened out on Long Island. Or maybe that wasn't even the spot, but it was close to it. Could have been Plum Island. Remember when my sellout old man slipped? But see, Al has a problem because once you start to interject these other issues such as time travel and him finding himself at Montauk on August 12th, him and Duncan, 83, but then there's the in-betweens, the trip to 2137, and there was one more. So when you're trying to piece this together, the thing of it is what I'm saying, what cannot be disputed, because I've looked into this so much, that Al, as the years go by, he adds things, and maybe he's remembering more. He never says that. But it's like the fishing story. The fish gets bigger and bigger and better. So, you have these events where he's going into great detail. Here's another 1990 shot where, again, once I wrap this up and show you my evidence that Al Bielik, Edward Cameron, whoever he is, all right, may not be who he says he is, or may not even be human for all we know. But what I can tell you is, with this situation concerning the alien involvement with Montauk, and also he claims, at one point when Eldritch got put into hyperspace, that these aliens flooded in. So look, this goes back to the rituals, and look, he was picked. He's part of the Old Boy Network and was picked to do damage control concerning what happened to this group of teenage boys between the years of 80 and 83. But we cannot forget any child that was put through any experimentation has to be remembered. And that was a life that could have done something for Yahweh, done something for the Holy One of Israel. Because I'll keep going back. It's about Jacob, about Edom, trying to, keep going to the bitter end until they're all going to get burned up. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno. So, Al, he's showing up, he's showing here. Here's the one picture I can never get right to show him. I thought this was in New York City, but look at his hand, okay? And this is the moment where this broad is interviewing him, and it's the moment he starts talking about the Greys. And it's something, it goes haywire inside him. But guess what? This video is no longer around. If anybody can find this, it's the year 1991. I believe it was in New York City, but now I think I saw something where this was actually somewhere in Pennsylvania. But nonetheless, we can see this is Al. But again, look at his hand. You see the electromagnetic spectrum coming out of his hand? So this is what I think. I think he's one of those tall Nordics, all right? And they have the original holographic technology. It's something to do with bending the light, warping the electromagnetic spectrum. And our environment now is geared to keep these creeps still hidden, because no one in real life has seen somebody shapeshift other than demonic distortion. You know, I saw it a couple times with the guy Jay, and then these freaks down here in Mexico, these hybrids that were hanging around. So, you know, Al definitely, he's demonstrating he has some sort, whether it's time travel, interdimensional transiting from this reality to the spiritual realm. I don't know, but hey, there you go. Now, here we are, May of 92, where you see Terziski getting involved. And this is the guy I saw at the bus stop. What I will tell you is that individual standing at the bus stop here in Rosarito Beach, Mexico, back in the summer of 2019, looked like this guy right here, same sourpuss, the hair hadn't changed, everything. And the guy, I tell you, he was at least 6'4", 250. And I don't know what to say, but that sourpuss, his face, and when we look at these other ones of Al, I'm thinking that this holographic technology, while it must do some crazy things, I don't think, like, every time they implement it, or however this works, there's something that it just does not look the same. And of course, I could be wrong. I don't know, because this is all way above my pay grade. I'm just the lowly satanic ritual abuse survivor, you know? I'm not a targeted individual. No government targeting program is after me. I got these American Nazi Edomite Satanist creeps that they are all over the place, and they can't kill off all their victims. They can sure the hell slander them. They can try to set them up with crimes. They can play games with them, stalk them, harass them. And see, Al was always asked, well, why aren't, how are you able to, get away with all this? Go on MUFON and talk about all this. And his answer was, well, very complicated. But because, see, him and Duncan were the ones that had initially time traveled, they needed them to hang around, to dampen down the timeline. Because, see, apparently the fourth function of our three-dimensional reality, which is time, also creates a wave. A wave that has force, that has power, that has destructive type. This is what he was saying on why him and Duncan You know, this is where this takes so much time to dissect all this. And this is how I can tell the frauds that don't know what they're talking about and haven't done their homework. You know, just putting up these videos. So, yeah, something, I don't know. It just, something about it. Now, here's another UFO conference out in the Netherlands in '97. And here we have Al telling the interviewer that according to Alex Collier, now this interview, he kept deferring to Alex, all right? According to Alex Collier, the Andromedans shut down time travel because they were pissed off. And there was no time travel taking place. So what that does is it punches a hole in these 20 and back, slippery, slimy, sleazy super soldiers. So how do you get around that there? How does the baby Draco hybrid James Rink and his cadre of super soldiers and everybody else, Basagio, all these other freaks get around that when Bielik says that because the timelines are out of whack and they're merging and it's causing problems, they had to shut down all time travel. This is 1997. Find the video, go watch it. Because, like I said, I'm getting sick of this. But as long as I'm still breathing and I have an iPhone and I can get online, I'm going to continue to do this. All right, so here's his famous talk where he goes into great detail and he throws the wing makers in. All right? If you don't know about the wing makers, I'm sorry, I can't get into it right now because this video will end up being another hour-long video. But he's in Denver, and this is where Al is really looking old. He's slurring his speech, smacking his lips left and right. And look, we all do that, but he does this 4-hour talk and he goes into great detail and he adds things. So this is the takeaway from this video right now concerning Al Bielik. Excuse me. And I'll keep getting into it because I'm going to miss stuff. I cannot, this, when the moment strikes me and I feel it, I do these videos. They're not going to be edited. They're unrehearsed. It's what I believe now. And is he part of the old boy network? Or is he one of these Nordics? And they're at the heart of the problem. We don't know. So here he is again. All right. I'm not sure what the date of this is, but see, here's the thing. The guy on the bus was definitely I'd say 6'4". So when I found this, I wanted to know what the height of the podium is, because you can clearly see Al's waistline is above the podium. So, and this is one of the things where Montauk Strange claimed that back in 94, 95, they had Montauk Day, that they all participated where they talked to Preston and Al. And I said, well, what did Al look like? How tall was he? They couldn't tell me. So what I wanted to know, this is where this is leading me. I can clearly see Al has to be 6'3", 6'4", because the podium is 3.5 feet. His waistline is above it, and he's looking like a very large man. So he's doing his spiel, and here's the thing: a lot of his talks, they're nothing but old people there. So I'm curious about that. Like who. He's doing these talks, but who's really getting the information and able to extrapolate something useful, especially if you thought that you have missing time, if you thought, you've been a victim of these Satanists and you can, like myself, Uncle Carl, this has nothing to do with doing drugs or a targeting program, people. These Satanists, all right, what they do is they have a time-tested method of sniffing out these individuals that are connected to the ancient Israelites. And I guess, when MK Ultra was the last-ditch effort trying to, damage as many children as they could so they could not stand up and witness, testify, oppose these demons. And so what the remnant is about is God is not going to let them kill off everybody. That wasn't going to happen. That's what the remnant is about, and this is why we are in end times, period. So let's look at this now. I want to see something. Oh yeah. Okay, so I examined these Operation Paperclip guys thinking, well, maybe Al's in one of these pictures. And I can tell you, I can't find anybody that remotely looks like Al, so we can rule that out. Now again, what do they all have in common with Yodel? Alright, so now, let's hold on, please. Okay, I stumbled across this. Now this, I believe, is 1994. Now Al also, he finds himself in Australia, and I believe when I show you this last slide, that was the 97 talk, a UFO conference in the Netherlands, and then he finds himself in Australia, in Sydney and Brisbane. And this is where I think the guy Peter Slattery, Gilliland's cohort out there in Australia, as a very young person, he's in the audience and he asks a question. All right. So look at this. Al is at the end of his talk, and he's kind of. It was almost a 3-hour talk. He's tired. He says he's only going to take a couple questions. He was looking a little aggravated at the end. But here, his eyes are clearly open because he's looking out into the audience to choose somebody to ask a question. But look at the graying under Al's face. Do you see that? How it's almost like a mask, like a Robin Hood mask of some sort. And I'm telling you, that's not right. So this I picked up on this the other week. Now again, let's just look at the mirroring, okay? There's only two alternate timelines, people. When these so-called slippery, slimy, sleazy super soldiers, this secret space program, this 20 and back that they tell you they're doing, and there's hundreds of thousands of timelines, and like the future, yes, we can decide. I can decide not to do a video, or maybe I will. And hey, is that another timeline? You've got to wake up to the fact that we have been served up so much mumbo jumbo that all I know is I got these implants in me, people. And if I had a doctor that took their Hippocratic oath seriously, put me in an MRI, and did not damage the evidence, and showed the world what was done to me, that's my evidence. It's inside me. So again, let's slow down. But look at it. Look at Al, the mirroring, okay? And you've seen this with me a bunch of times. Now here's a very young looking Preston, because him and Al are doing this conference together. And Preston, he's a character. Here he's got it all mapped out. There's the Montauk chair where Duncan the Psychic sat, right? There's the computer mainframe. Then it goes into the transmitters. And then it goes through another computer system into the Sage radar tower. And then there you go, folks. There's the Sage radar tower that they showed with the cherry stick, the antenna whip. That, see, what they do, what Al did, and same with Preston, is they baffle you with their technological bullshit. Now let's make it clear. Both of them are near geniuses when it comes to engineering, all that stuff. But when it comes to this interdimensional, exotic, alien technology, fallen technology from Lucifer himself, the ultimate alien, right? All right, they know that inside and out. So the thing of it is, when you start handing this stuff over to these humans, right, these Edomites, okay, that you have doing your dirty work, and they run around, right? And when Jacob won't sell out, okay, when they know they've got one of them, one of the remnant, we got to make sure we get them. Just make sure we get them raped, tortured, electrocuted, beat up by the time they're, 5 years old? And that will stop them a little bit. We can't kill them because, see, when this stuff was going on, what you people don't get is the Holy One of Israel sent holy fire down from hell. A lightning bolt that zapped. We got crispy critters, these Satanists, all right, because they're dime a dozen. When one goes down, another one takes their place. They don't care, folks. No loyalty amongst thieves. Now look at Preston. See, you see what I'm saying? I got into this on the last one, the Reptoid Review, with the lines. What is that about, people? Now here's Al trying to explain time travel, and something happened to his eyeball, man. It almost popped out of his head. Okay? He's explaining the whole thing with time travel, but now look at this. Come on, man. What do you want from me, people? I give you the proof. I'm censored. I'm hoveling down here. All right? And look, I can go there. Maybe they'll give me a job now to shut me up. But see, I can't be reliable. They keep waking me up every night with these implants. I can't sleep. And then, I won't go over the rest of my health problems with you freaks on social media, because most of you could give a shit. Not all of you, but most of you. You've proven that with your childlike comments in the comments section. So here you go. There he is. I know you see this, people. So yes, America is in deep doo-doo. All right. They still believe that there's a retirement there at the end of the day. And what about a federal employee? You think they keep saying there's these whistleblowers, but boy, it seems like this guy Johnny Grush, right, the UAP disclosure guy, where has he been hiding at? He's got nothing new to offer, right? But I still seem to get these flyovers. The only reason why they took off today is because it's been raining all day. There you go. Well, Al, I don't know what to tell you, but look at his schnoz. Right? The eyes, the nose, the mouth, the lips, the fingers. But look at his schnoz. It's like, something's not right. There you go again. So, well, all right. So what they do now is, you got these goofballs trying to change the whole story of the Philadelphia experiment. And they don't got their story straight. They obviously didn't listen to Al Bielik or Jessup and the other one, Carl Allen, they stick to that. So what they do is, all right, they stick to this guy, one guy, Carl Allen, all right? He was there, but they changed the date, October 28th, 1943. And, the Navy attempted to make a destroyer escort class ship, the Eldridge, disappear, but bizarre results followed. Okay, so do you see what they're doing, people? They're changing the whole thing around because no one pays attention to this. You're only going to care about this if you were a so-called Montauk boy and you're stuffed with implants and your life has been destroyed. And the only reason why you got on social media because it was the last resort. Yeah, there's a story, but I'll never get into court. And I could subpoena these people in San Diego and all over the place and my sellout family. What's that going to do? The legal system, the justice system's rigged. It's ran by hybrids. The medical system, it's all rigged. Wake up. You didn't see what happened 2020? Now remember, there were people that worked on Montauk Air Force Station at Camp Hero. I've gone over this already. I'm not going to do it again. So when you social media frauds start running your yap about Montauk, and I see you here 2024, and you don't got your story straight, whoa, I tell you what, look out. Now remember, as I explained, there's no junior. The infamous August 12th, 83 date. Junior is a conifer tree that they took a picture of when they were gutting Camp Hero back in 1984. So thanks to the East Hampton Historical Society, we solved that mystery. But there's still people that will live and die because they made money off this, well, big lie, big whopper. I tell you, talk about lazy lying lizards. That's right. Now this was today. Man, it's these alien insectoids all the way around, but look at this. See if I can do this. It's supposed to be a bird, but watch this. Okay. But the thing never flaps its wings. And furthermore, there's these alien insectoids right there that are zipping around. Where's custodian file when I need them? Oh, man. So, all right. So they're changing the Philadelphia experiment around. Now, look. Again, every time Al mentions the word alien, and I showed you the one from back in 91, this is the one in Netherlands in 97, look what happens. I got all your numbers. And don't worry, we're going to go over Al Bielik's dilemma again. And we'll continue to talk about things, folks. But look, I hope everybody's New Year's starting off. Hey, back to work. You get them paychecks rolling, right, folks? So, yep, well, while you're doing that, please give thanks and praise to the Holy One of Israel, his only begotten Son, Yeshua HaMashiach, and yes, Jesus, our Christ, our Savior, the only begotten Son that has the truth, the way, and the life. Good luck out there, kids.